York, and Julius Rosenberg arrives at the federal court to receive sentence for betraying his country's atomic secrets to Soviet Russia. Appearing with him is his wife Ethel, adjudged a full partner in this treacherous crime. Finding the accused couple guilty, Judge Kaufman pronounced the death sentence. So, for the first time, American citizens will pay the extreme price for espionage on behalf of a foreign power.
Welcome to the History Live documentary. My name is Normington.
And my name is Otis Leniger. Today we are going to give a detailed account of the Julius and Ethel Rosenberg case and how it ties into the National History Day theme of rights and responsibilities. Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were New York citizens who were accused of spying for Soviet Russia and supplying them with American atomic secrets. Ethel Rosenberg did not have proper evidence to convict her of espionage, but the FBI decided to try and use her as leverage to learn more about the spy ring from Julius, to put her on trial for the same crime. Due to a poor defense, lies in prosecution testimonies, and Ethel maintaining her Fifth Amendment right to stay silent and protect her husband, she was found guilty and sentenced to death by the electric chair alongside her husband Julius. The clear violation of Ethel's constitutional rights tied directly into the blatant ignorance of the United States government. The U.S. government completely went over the Constitution and convicted Ethel Rosenberg without proper and decisive evidence.
After World War II, conflict among the United States and the Soviet Union increased into the Cold War. These two superpowers then locked into a nuclear arms race, each country doing whatever it took to become the first to obtain the power of a nuclear bomb. The United States' top-secret Manhattan Project was the program developing this horrific weapon. As the U.S. came closer and closer to unlocking the atom, the Soviet Union then turned to dark measures in order to catch up.
Julius Rosenberg was an electrical engineer who worked on radar technology during World War II. He was an active member of the American Communist Party and was accused of having given up classified United States information to the Soviet Union after the end of World War II. Julius's wife, Ethel Rosenberg, worked as a secretary for the National New York Packing and Shipping Company. She also participated in similar political views as Julius. However, her part in the selling of American secrets is more questionable. Some believe that she was guilty, while others believe that she was only just aware or even framed.
The case against the Rosenbergs began when David Greenglass, Ethel's brother, was arrested and confessed to being guilty of espionage. He and his wife decided to take a plea deal to ensure they would serve minimum sentences and keep their family together. In this plea deal, David implicated both Ethel and Julius, claiming they had recruited them into a Soviet spy ring to sell the secrets of the Manhattan Project to the Soviet Union. The defense for Ethel and Julius was led by attorney Emanuel Gersh Bluck, who is known for his work in highly politically charged cases. The argument was that the prosecution was built on little and flimsy evidence, and that the testimony of key witnesses, such as David Greenglass, were unreliable and based on motives to lie.
Julius was arrested on July 17, 1950, and Ethel was arrested on August 11, 1950, for suspicion of espionage. The United States government charged them with the passing of United States atomic secrets to the Communist Soviet Union. As said before, Julius was accused of the passing of key plans of the atomic bomb to the Soviet Union, which would help them to go on and design and construct their own. However, Ethel's role in this dilemma is almost solely to put pressure on Julius and force him to give up more information they needed. The FBI expected Ethel to give them any and all information they wanted and pushed Julius to do the same so she would be allowed to return to her sons. But this was not the case.
When Ethel was put on stand and questioned by the defense, she held steadfast and refused to answer anything aside from very basic questions. She quoted her Fifth Amendment right dozens of times, repeatedly refusing to answer any question that she felt would incriminate her. She also used her right to spousal privilege granted to her under the Evidence Amendment Act of 1853, giving her the right to not answer questions or testify against Julius when it pertained to their conversations. This repeated refusal to answer questions not only made it extremely difficult and frustrating for the prosecution, but also seemed to make Ethel look more guilty for the jury, even though the refusal to answer questions is not evidence of any wrongdoing.
Both Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were convicted of espionage on March 29, 1951. The jury found them both guilty, but were told it was not their duty to worry about their sentencing, only if they were guilty or innocent. 1 week after the verdict, the judge Irving R. Kaufman sentenced them both to death. Despite Ethel's dispute that her participation was limited, The trial was very poorly handled, resulting in ill content from the media, especially due to the lack of solid evidence connecting Ethel to this crime. The Rosenbergs' defense attorney attempted to appeal the conviction. However, the U.S. Supreme Court refused to take part. People from all over the world began to criticize the severity of Ethel's death sentence. American citizens and media outlets began to claim that the Rosenbergs were victims of political framing and persecution during the peak of the communist regime around the world.
On June 19, 1953, both Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were executed by electric chair at the Sing Sing prison in New York State. Julius was 35 and Ethel was 37. Their execution resulted in a worldwide debate over the fairness of the case, the morality and the ethics of the death penalty, and the United States anti-communist hysteria. This trail would become a symbol of Cold War conflicts and fears of communist revolution in the United States.
The release of classified Soviet Union records since has proven Julius to be guilty, but there is no evidence that Ethel ever had any involvement beyond being married to Julius and knowing of his espionage. In the 2000s, David Greenglass admitted that he had exaggerated Ethel's role in the espionage, mainly to protect his own family. Even though Ethel could have tried to persuade Julius to give up the information the FBI wanted from them, they both refused to. They both continued to use their Fifth Amendment right and stay silent, refusing to incriminate themselves and insisting upon their innocence.
Many historians and scholars have argued that the Rosenbergs were victims of political framing. The case is often viewed as an example of a term known as McCarthyism. McCarthyism was the belief that fear of communism led to unfair trials which suppressed civil liberties and the execution of certain individuals without the proper justification.
The Rosenberg case remains, to this day, a reminder of the dangerous outcome that political repression and the misuse of the legal system can cause. The execution of Julius and Ethel has left a mark on the politics around the world, striking debates on civil rights and freedoms. Their story is told to show the political action taken during times of national fear.
The Julius and Ethel Rosenberg case was and is one of the most influential cases of moments in Cold War history. While Julius's role in the espionage activities have been proven, Ethel's role is still a conspiracy. Many believe that her execution was a miscarriage of the justice system, driven by fears of communism. This all ties back to the rights of every American citizen. What would happen if you were put into this position in modern-day America? Our justice system has evolved and adapted to fit this world's beliefs and civil liberties. However, during the Cold War era, some civil rights and beliefs were overlooked because of the sheer fear of communism and the terror of what might come after.
Thank you so much for listening, and I hope our documentary on Ethel and Julius Rosenberg has educated you on a portion of history you didn't know about before, and has made you more aware of your own rights and responsibilities as a United States citizen.